Well, here we go. Hold on. Hold on to your chairs, computers, speakers. We're back for another edition of Les Kevin Mortek from UTEC IT. And we have, I'm going to call her what her friends call her, TTH or Tara. You can say the rest of it because I sure as hell can't. But she's going to tell you here today, we're going to talk about the Troy Chamber. Okay. And we are blessed to have Tara in from the Troy Chamber.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
So what's your role at the Chamber?
So I am the president and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce. I've been there for about 4 years now.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. How did you, I'm just curious because I know why Kevin was engaged or why we as a company, we get so engaged in the Chamber, but what drove you to get engaged and to seek a leadership role like that?
So interesting. So I worked in philanthropy. I worked in hotel management and I worked in entertainment for years. I was working at a company at the time and it was more of a for-profit company. So I was kind of feeling like I was selling myself out a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
So I had a recruiter call me and said, hey, I hear there's buzz that you're interested in coming back into the nonprofit sector. Right. And I mean, I used to be the vice president of mission advancement for the American Heart Association for the Midwest.
Wow. Fantastic.
But what was funny, she goes, I'm not going to tell you what it is. And I said, I'm sorry? Like, who interviews for something they don't know what it really is? And I go, okay, this is peculiar. She goes, because it's not the warm and fuzzy, and I don't want you to say no. I want you to just go to this interview. And I'm like, I love going to interviews having no knowledge of what I'm supposed to be talking about. Fantastic.
Kind of like today's podcast.
Pretty much. It works. Hey, it's fly by the seat of your pants. It's fine. But so I went in and we talked through like what this looks like. And really what it is that my entire role is to focus on the success of businesses. We have so many members. I mean, close to 700 chamber members, but we have like 60 who work in nonprofit. So I would be helping to facilitate education around what our nonprofit sector needs. So we would look at grant fundings. We were looking at all these different nuggets. And again, I had 10 years of hotel management. I was a entertainer for years and worked in philanthropy. So it was kind of, I took all the things I learned, put it into one bucket and was able to kind of nonstop be busy and help others. So I only wanted to help. Yeah. So if I'm making an impact, I'm in. If I'm not, I'm out. So it made sense.
And you're in.
I'm in. I'm fully in.
It's great. It's a great chamber.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. You do wonderful work.
I want to interrupt.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the chamber. Yeah. We want to get to that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out, looking at her background.
As I'm already drinking at this point. So here we go, buddy. Here we go.
Are her friends, or is she as demented as we are and some of our friends? Because now, check out this background. She has a BA in jazz voice, intercultural communications, peace and conflict studies, with a concentration on dispute resolution and hostage negotiation and terrorism.
I was going to say, we get to the terrorism.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you talk about her travels. They say that she's on a soap opera.
Yeah.
They say that she's been a singer, a jazz singer. And you go through this Amish farm in Indiana, countless countries that she's lived in. And then I'm supposed to believe this. Talk to me about this trapeze school.
Oh, so you go straight to trapeze figures. That's why we're drinking. So obviously my background's a little intense. I have a lot of background. I believe the more you can experience life and the more you can, like, that's every time I mentor even college students, I say, hey, go do it now.
Well, I think
figure
you've
it
done
out.
It here already.
I've done it. Well, but that's what made me who I am, because I understand things a little bit differently. So trapeze is an interesting one. So I was living in New York, and the irony of it is I don't know if this is, most people are listening, but I look a little bit like a Disney princess. Like I know what I look like. That's why hostage negotiation isn't ideal for a Disney princess. But what was interesting about it is I just was taking a bunch of friends who came to visit me in New York while I was out there and took them to the New York City School of Trapeze. And while we're out there, a bunch of little kids would be, kids are drawn to me. It's just one of those things. I think it's because I can talk magically. But what we would do is they immediately looked at me and they're like, would you mind helping out for the kids program? So it's not as sexy as one would think for trapeze, but I helped with the kids programs to make sure that the kids were comfortable, because I could say, it's going to be okay, everyone. All you have to do is hold on tight. And when we say let go, let go. Good job.
Well,
So, yeah.
can I ask a favor?
Yeah, absolutely.
Personal favor.
Shoot.
Johnny Bazooka,
Yeah.
that runs our soundboard here.
Okay.
He asked me to ask about this
Okay,
because
give it.
he's kind of like a Disney princess,
Oh,
looks that way.
magic.
And he has a jungle gym in his backyard he
Oh.
built for himself.
Yeah.
And he would like to learn trapeze.
I can do this in
techniques.
like
Could we get some private lessons for him?
3
Could you
simple
coach him up?
steps. It's very simple. Don't worry, I got you, buddy. The jungle gym, I mean, hey, we'll make sure it's sturdy, but
Okay.
would this be classified as workman's comp if you go down? I need to know these things in advance.
Okay,
So,
with that
all right,
out of the
good.
way, let's talk about the Troy Chamber, because there's fabulous things happening at the Troy Chamber right now.
I'm still drinking. Wow, you guys are really a good time. No, things are great. So we're moving our headquarters. We're moving into Walsh. I know we're going to talk a little bit more about
right.
that. So we're going to be neighbors. But it's
Roomies.
Roomies. Oh yes, roomies. We've got really exciting things going on. I mean, we do about 90 events a year. So we are nonstop. So we always chuckle when people are like, when's your downtime? And I get to hysterically laugh with my bourbon and go, yeah, we don't have that. But we've got some really great conferences coming up. We've got some really great speakers and some great partnerships and collaborations moving forward.
Awesome. That's great. The so how do you juggle 90 events? That's 2 a week.
So we have. I will say that we are the best team on the planet. There's nothing I could do without Sheila, Sydney, Evan, and Jody. So it's really not me whatsoever. It's how spectacular of a team we have. We're loyal, and I think the reality of it is that all of us believe in servant leadership. So we're not here to make sure our day's better. Our job's to make sure your day's better and you guys get what you need out of it. And I think when everyone gets that and understands it, is this in the best interest for our members? We do it. If it's in the best interest of just for us, we don't.
Got it.
So that's what's the most important piece.
Teamwork makes a dream.
That it does. That it does.
Well, yeah, I think the chamber is important. I think we need to continue to educate, because so many of the kids coming out now, they're connected to this, the cell phone, and I think that world that they're Facebook friends or Instagram or TikTok. Facebook, I'm showing myself, but the TikTok or the Instagram stuff, like that's real world. But they need to really connect on a personal level, and you can't do it on a phone through a 15-second video or
It's
150
hard.
words,
I will say that's something that we've been working on a lot. So we have so many subcommittees as well. So we have our Women's Business Forum, but our YPs as well, our young professionals. We are talking to employers all the time. And I know you and I were just kind of chatting a little bit about that. And I think my favorite story was I was talking to one of the employers of a very large manufacturing firm. And he goes, so the person came to my office. He was absolutely brilliant. We were really excited to meet with him. And the whole time he was checking his phone. And in the middle of the interview said, oh, I got an offer. I'm all set. And walked out.
Wow.
And literally he's like, this person didn't even know, right? But he also didn't know what the opportunity, that job could have been better anyways. So it's those things of like working on, hey, build some relationships. We also know when you know a person and you can build that trust, that person's going to refer you to a company of saying, hey, I heard somebody's looking for somebody. I know a great person that could fill that role. And I think that's something really important that we're paying attention to.
That's
Social
awesome.
skills and etiquette is just as important.
IP, we couldn't
No,
apply.
I can't even. So what's fun is I'm not even allowed at my own events. So I out-aged
We're
my
OP.
YPs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Old
OP.
people.
We heard there's a group that wants to start the Owls, the old wise leaders, and I'm like, okay, that's a bit much, guys. We're going to hold back on that. So, but again, like when you're talking,
You know what? I heard that'd be a hoot.
Oh, you went there. I'm going to cheers you for that one, buddy. Bring it in for that. So
I'm going to get in on that.
I know. And from out. I think one thing too, when we talk about chambers, we do also teach business etiquette because we were talking about how somebody will come into an event and immediately think the entire room, I'm going to sell to every single one of them. Well, that's not how it works. People are not going to say, I met you in first glance. Now I want to buy $300,000 of office furniture. Like that's not how it works. So I think a lot of it is talking through of, hey, ask the questions, build these relationships.
What makes a successful member of a chamber?
You get what you put in.
Yeah.
That's the nicest way of saying it.
Right.
Is if you're going to put yourself in, like, we'll actually work with you. Like, we always laugh because we're not cliquey. So some chambers, I don't know if you've been to some chambers, and they're all great in their own ways, but some of them are very much like, this is the crew who's over here. This is this. Like, our members are kind of trained to go talk to people you don't know. Start figuring out what other people do, because I promise you'll be impressed at what they have to offer. And you don't know what that relationship can entail. Right. So I think you get what you put in. So you got to attend events. If we have opportunities, so like on our website, we have your ability to share your news. You have the ability to share your own events that you're doing. And people don't take advantage of it. But ironically, when you look at when we're seeing our click rates on our e-blasts and our click rates on our newsletters, all of that, our member news and our member events is pretty close to even our information of what's going out. So people are trying to pay attention to what's going on. So put in something, you'll get something out of it. Right. And that's something I can promise.
And what's an unsuccessful member?
You know, when you just sign up and think the world's going to end up in your lap, I think that's an unsuccessful member. But I will also say we have members who can't come to events, but they'll share their news. They'll tag us on their Facebooks. See, I just gave my age as well with you. So they'll tag us on social media. They'll do things where they can still stay engaged. And I think that's important. And honestly, when you join a chamber, be open and honest with the person and say, here's what I want to get out of it. And I always say, who are you trying to get in front of? Because I'll help make sure that happens. I'll give you a heads up if I know that person's coming to an event. I think the reality is just be open and honest about it. Don't have expectations that you don't have to do anything, because you do.
Right.
But if you don't want to do much, tell me what you want to get out of it, and I can still find a way for that to happen.
That's cool. Yeah. Kevin was tell a little bit about your chamber history.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I've been kicked out a couple chambers already.
Yeah. Why am I not surprised?
No, we try to impress upon our employees that we want them to be involved in chambers and or different organizations. It can be anything for that matter, but find nonprofits, find chambers, and go there and be active. Get on a committee, serve. Like you said, if you're active in it, you serve. Good things come to you. You'll meet people, they'll meet you, and they'll make a decision if they want to do business with you. And if you go with the mindset, I want to connect people and help them solve their problems, I think it means a lot more to the group.
We had one member say, he's like, you know what, I've been a member with you guys for years, and I didn't necessarily go after it from a sales perspective. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's very unselfish of you. Yeah, but what did you come here for? Yeah. But the reality was he had served a lot of clients, and he goes, I didn't know who I could trust to refer things to. Okay. And he's like, so when they were saying, hey, I need a tax accountant, he's like, I actually knew one because I met someone and I know that they're good people. And he's like, so I actually felt like I was doing a better service for my clients because I could be a one-stop shop because I'm a wealth of information. Yeah. And he goes, and then the business did come back, but it wasn't on purpose. That wasn't the direction. He really just wanted to make sure he had honest people that he could send business to.
Yeah, he's building value.
Yes.
He was building his value to his client base just by becoming a resource.
100%.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think the reality is we really need to make sure we stay connected. I think COVID kind of kicked us all. I laugh when I still see people and I'm like, you're not a little box that's 1 inch tall. Like, you have a face. Like,
I'm not a cat.
I know. Oh, God, still my favorite one. But I think it's really nice to get people out of their social norms as well, because we've become very comfortable in our own settings. I mean, we wear jeans now to work every now and then. I mean, we've become a more comfortable society, which is good. But is that comfort level the same when you're doing one-on-one interpersonal conversations? And I don't know if it's there yet. So we're working on it.
Yeah, so you can't do that. And it frustrates me because we pivoted to Zoom, right? Everybody had to do Zoom, Teams, pick your flavor there. And now you don't even see them turn on the cameras anymore. So it's just like a conference call. I'm like, turn on your camera. Well, first of all, we don't want to do those meetings. We try to avoid those at all costs. But then if you're doing it, you got to turn on the camera because it's interpersonal. It's reading body language. Who's engaged, who's interested, who's not.
We laugh about it. So, we are 100% camera always, no matter what. So, it is funny if we do see it's just a box with a name. I notice we're extra, which I know I'm already extra anyways, but it's like, hi, how's it going? And we're like, this is just ridiculous. But we're like trying so hard, like, please give us something. Like, will a giggle come out? Is there any kind of reaction we're going to get?
Because there's a good chance they're over here on their email.
Well, and we know that happens. So we're always like, is your camera broke? Is it broke?
Yeah.
I don't care if you're in yoga pants. It's fine. Step up your game, kids. So, yeah.
That's a classic. You know, and then especially with a community like, you know, Troy, which is so business centric.
Yeah.
You know, and the ability to meet and greet in that environment, I gotta imagine. I mean, you would know better. It's priceless.
I think what's unique is every chamber is different. So the value of joining your local chamber is extremely important. But you do join a chamber where you want to do business. So Troy gets a lot of chamber members from across the state, like I was mentioning. But I think what's really interesting and kind of fun about our chamber is we're 100% business focused, where some chambers are not. And that's great because that's what they do. But like, we're never going to have an art in the park. I don't know how art in the park is going to help my businesses. So if it doesn't help my businesses, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
We're not going to do a 5K. Yes, I want you to be healthy. I do. But that's not going to help my business members.
Yeah.
So ours is 100% business focused. But what's unique about that is we also try not to do things too late in the evening. We want to respect people's family times.
Right.
We know corporations are being more flexible about you work during working hours. So we're making sure we have our breakfasts, our lunch, our happy hours, but we're always done by about 5:30 because we want people to have their true lives as well.
Right.
So we really stay around that business. We're never going to say, hey, Saturday morning, everyone join us as we're going to go to a fair. It's not going to happen. We're never going to do that. I can promise that. But it keeps our mission on point. It's making sure that is our focus.
So you seem to be a very mission-driven individual.
Very much.
I've heard that come through, you know, quite a bit in the discussion.
It's the job.
Yeah. So
If it's about me, I'm not doing my job. If it's about anybody else, it has to be about the members. It has to be about their success.
So what are some trends you're seeing?
Oh, geez. In what category? So from a working from home, we're seeing definitely a lot more hybrid. We are seeing that. We're still seeing a labor shortage. Obviously, we know there's a difference between unemployment rates and labor shortages. We are seeing hospitality businesses start to bounce back.
Oh, very nice.
Which is really good to see. Troy has a ton of hotels and a ton of attractions, so we are seeing a lot more, I would say, occupancy.
They must have been hit hard on the COVID.
It was awful. It was, I mean, one of the hotels we worked with, which was Embassy Suites in Troy, there was a time where it was just 2 employees in the entire building.
Oh, my gosh.
And this is something that normally has 50, 60 employees at a time. So you have the general manager pretty much camping out in the hotel to make sure their 5 guests are taken care of.
Wow.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that is.
We are still seeing people return to work. We are seeing a shortage in the young adults coming back to work. We do know that this is a trend. That's not going to go away. So we're used to seeing where people are always complaining about the service industry of saying, hey, there's nobody working, there's nobody.
Right.
Well, the reality is a lot of these 18 to 24-year-olds who traditionally took these roles are not taking these roles. They're parents are saying, hey, concentrate on college, take apprenticeships. So these are not bad things for the student per se, but it is tough for us.
Right.
So we're missing that whole genre of employers. So we're also seeing people graduating and saying, I should be the general manager right now. And that's also not feasible.
Right.
So we are seeing those types of trends. I'm seeing a lot more connections. So I am seeing a lot more people working together instead of trying to do it themselves.
Got it.
And I think to me, that's the most inspiring.
So are you, as the president of the chamber, when you see trends, does that kind of help you form your vision and the direction that you're going as a chamber?
Yeah, I mean, we always have to pivot, but the reality of it is I'm not going to be something for everybody. Like, I can only do so much. We have so many industries that we work with, but I ask our members to reach out to me if there's something they're missing. Like, what is the thing that you don't have that you need? So, like, we had people not getting employees, so we built a jobs board. We have people saying, hey, I need to connect. I need more video content. We started our own podcast. We have, I need a marketing video. Can you do that? We will end up helping them to find a way to do their own kind of marketing initiative video to give them their own little commercial. I think a lot of it is making sure everyone knows what each player on our team can do, and
That's
we worked
cool.
with that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the reasons you have such a vital, growing chamber.
Or it's just because why we're exhausted. So why we're really tired because we don't sleep ever. It's amazing.
90 events.
It's great.
90 events.
Good
It's
times.
ambitious.
It
It
is.
is.
That's how we do, though. I mean, hey, and again, we got to look at it. All of our team is just spectacular. So they all step up and we all take leads on certain things.
I was going to say kudos to the team because being involved with chambers like we have, the director can't do it, the CEO can't do it. You need a good team. If the team's not there, the events suffer and
We're great
morale's down.
because of them. We are great because of them.
So you guys are moving?
We are.
Yeah, so let's hear a little bit about that.
So we are moving to Walsh College.
Very nice.
So I built, from my understanding, and I could be completely lying because I have no knowledge of it, but from
Disclaimer.
The disclaimer of knowledge maybes. From my understanding, we are the very first Chamber of Commerce to move into a business school.
Wow.
So it is a very exciting thing. There's some
You picked the right one.
We
Yeah.
did. We know this. Obviously, working with President Susie Siegel, she's absolutely spectacular.
Yeah.
But I think the reality of it is the space is beautiful, but the partnerships that's going to come out of that is going to be even greater.
Yeah.
We have so many board members who are Walsh alums, so it just kind of worked in
Excellent.
itself. But I think I think there's some cool neighbors and we might have.
Yeah, it's a highbrow neighborhood.
I'm just saying, yeah.
As Dave
It's a-
Matthews has
it's a
said,
good-
there's space between us.
So we house our Oakland County office in
Yes,
Troy.
I know this.
At Walsh College, and we love it.
Yeah, well, our grand opening party is in October, so we'll have a pretty big bash coming.
We should
up
do
soon.
like a dual ribbon cutting
Come
ceremony.
on and by.
Right.
Come on by.
Yeah.
We'll just move everybody over. And we'll just keep rotating the whole building. I'm okay
No,
with
your
that.
space looks nicer than ours.
Oh, come on.
We'll just
Hey, and because you're a chamber member, you can literally come and work in our office all
Right.
the time. We have no rule
Yeah.
on that, so that'd be great.
that's one of the nice things about that facility is the areas, the
Yeah.
seating areas, in the cafeteria area, and then there's the outside areas. So there's a lot of places to collaborate within, the facility.
Well, and it's funny, our current office is actually larger.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a smaller footprint, but we have more employees. But we looked at those
Yes.
spaces of saying, well, we can have collaborative conversations out
Right.
here. We don't have to be stuck in our office because it is one space that's open.
The area right between eImagine and your facility is ideal for collaboration.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful over there too.
It is wonderful.
Well, that's where the fun event's going to be.
Right.
So we'll
Woohoo.
see that. So anyone who wants to come by can go to troychamber.com. Do you like my little plug there?
Right, I like
That's
that.
good.
Keep plugging.
Nice.
John, make sure you put that on the.
A slider after your trapeze
Right.
lesson. It'll be great.
Yeah, we'll even bring the bourbon.
Sounds like a plan. Our members will be fine with that. So it's exciting. But we're really excited to be a part of it. Obviously, the partnership with Walsh is going to be amazing. But I think there's so many cool things on the horizon. Again, we'd love to have more members join. And we know a lot more members will be joining once our partnership goes out
Right,
live.
right. So where do you
Well,
see that?
it's important because,
Yeah.
right, you got two leaders there that see it as leading and connecting, and they got to be a part of this because just the energy that's going to come out of that and the opportunity is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, and it's, again, we have the drive, we have the mission, we have the vision. It's just making sure we can get everybody to be involved. And involvement's the key for a chamber.
Seems to me like it's more getting them to catch up to the wave.
Or finding that there is a wave. It can go either direction for that. So
No, that's super duper exciting. So where do you see that going in the next couple of years?
So with the partnerships itself, I
Yes.
think we're going to be keeping a lot of local talent in the area. I know Walsh and I are going
That's
to be
big.
partnering on that. There's going to be some amazing new continuing education programs that's going to help people get to their job where they want to be.
Right.
I guess that's the way of saying it. People are in their jobs, but they want to excel. They want to get better. They want to learn more. We're going to have a lot more opportunities with that. I think the Troy Chamber itself prides itself on education. So while we do great networking, we all know that we have great networking. I mean, our last event had 70 people. We expected 50.
Yeah, wow.
That was a day. But we always try to incorporate some education because I think if you can leave our event with even one little nugget, that's the goal. Because if you can take that back, make yourself either a better professional, personal reasons, whatever you need to do, we want to give you that. And if there's stuff people need to know, we want them to tell us, and we'll find a
Right.
way to get you that information.
Yeah, so with the pace of change, that continuing education is just going to get more and more important.
It's going to be big. We're excited.
Love it.
That was my Disney voice again, almost.
Is that
shooting
what
out
we're
there.
dealing with? I was wondering what was
Oh,
going on.
it's so wonderful. I
Where do you want to go with that one?
I don't know where to go.
You got some good giggles out of that one there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm at a loss here. I'm just like the trapeze person, just hanging around.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
So, having those connections in the community and the shared vision, so how do you communicate that? I mean, there's the standard web postings, emails, but communicating a vision that large, right? Because you guys you're painting a very big picture here.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a variety of ways. I mean, I was joking about us doing a media tour, but we actually are.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll be doing a media tour starting, I think, around October time, launching some of the new partnerships we're doing because it's going to appease people to join the Troy Chamber from across the state. But I think the reality
Bring
of
a
it...
big RV and we're just going to
It is.
drive
Well,
around.
ooh, I like this.
Yeah, right?
It's like
Let's
our
do it.
political
Yes,
campaign, but I'll
yes.
pass. But we're not political either. So I think that's the piece where we invite people to have conversations. We're about bringing people together, not push people apart.
Right.
So we always laugh. I had one event. This was a couple of years back, and I remember it was a politician who stood at the front, and he goes, "If you have a problem, you need to call a Republican." And I was like, "Oh crap! All right." So I have to diffuse that, and so I go up on stage and I go, "You know what? You can call a Republican, call a Democrat, call your mom for all I care.
Yeah.
Just communicate with each other."
Right.
So I think the platforms we use is to make sure that we're on every stage and communicating that this is the goal. But again, it's sometimes the one-on-one conversations.
Right.
And I think what's great about us is that the Troy Chamber employees don't have to necessarily scream the mission from the rooftops because
They have somebody.
our members do it.
Yeah.
So we don't really, I mean, there's more times than none that we hear people saying, "Oh, I met your member. They were talking about it and they posted like a family photo and said, 'Thanks, Troy Chamber.'" I'm like, "Yeah, that's a bit odd, but thank you for doing that."
yeah.
But we've built relationships, we've built friendships,
Yeah.
we've built long-term partnerships. And I think our results prove why they should be a part of us.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
The media tour, you're going to stop by here in our...
I mean, I guess we could. Depends on the bourbon.
We'll have to get our people to talk to your people.
Yeah. Or you could walk down the hall and knock on the door. We'll probably be moved in by the same time, so it'll be good to go.
Yeah, you're going to love the facility. It has everything there.
It's a wonderful space.
It really is.
I think, too, what's great about, so like I sit on the DDA as well. Like I'm a bunch of committees and boards across the area. It's nice to bring people to the space. And that's the goal. Like the campus can be quiet because a lot of people are online. A lot of
Right.
people are in the evening. So during the daytime, we have a little more luxury of bringing people and inviting them to campus.
Right.
So we're excited because we're going to have people who've maybe never been on campus before, and they'll be hanging out in our office. They'll be hanging out in the lobby. It's just more friendships and partnerships
That's
to be
awesome.
made.
All right, so we're going to go back to back on this. This is another guest we have to bring back for another episode because we're kind of up against the time here.
You just want to
But,
learn about trapeze. Come
yes,
on.
yes. We're going out the door right now.
Don't play the
Extracurricular.
game.
But no, anybody listening here has got to realize they got to be involved with the Detroit Chamber. I mean, you can't not be. You're going to be missing out on so much if you're not involved, and we're excited about our involvement and looking to expand on that. So
Thank you for being members.
coming in.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
Should we ask
Close
the
us out.
question?
Oh.
All right.
Oh, ask the question, the big question.
Oh, are we
Yeah.
going? We're going straight bourbon.
Well, so what's your favorite?
So I'm indifferent in some of that. So I do like basil. I do like Woodford, Blanton's. I guess I'm an equal opportunist for the bourbon
Really?
world.
I got
I
it.
would like to sample before. I think it should be one giant sampling before you make a decision because
Right.
it could be dependent on the mood.
So we're potentially talking not 90 events a year, but 91.
There you go. we actually.
You're going to have 100 bourbons out there for you to
So
sample.
just so you do know, one of our events does do a bourbon tasting.
Really?
So we do.
We're there.
So traditionally, it's actually coming up. We're having a fire and flannel event, and it's at Troy Historic Village. And we had bourbon tastings last year. I'm hopeful we're getting it again, so I don't want to jump the gun. So don't yell at me if something happens. But we usually do a bourbon tasting there because you can
Fire
actually fire and
and
flannel.
I like that.
So
all
we-
buffalo
In the fall.
flannel, right?
You actually, so they have fire pits all over,
Yeah.
and you wear flannel. We actually pick who's wearing the best flannel, which is weird because it's all flannel. But we actually have like those irons where you can like what is that called?
Branding.
Thank you.
Yes.
You brand like coasters with logos on it. Like, so we have like
Yeah.
a very fun, cool, interactive food, just a band.
I thought you were going to tell us
So
there was a
what-
hazing
we-
part
we're-
to joining the
I was gonna
chamber.
say,
Branding.
where does her branding come in with peace, conflict, dispute resolution? Oh, it's the hostage negotiation.
There you go.
terrorism.
See, you always, hey, it's all about negotiating in life. So again, maybe I was working more in intercultural conflict, but here I am today, hanging out with you fine folk with some good bourbon.
Nice, and we
Well,
love
cheers.
it.
Thank you
Cheers
for
to that,
your,
guys. Thanks for having
thank you
me.
for your leadership for the chamber.
Appreciate you.